Not only cancel the Super Bowl that the Pope plays in.
Welcome to season 6, where we're phoning it in.
You don't think critically and then put a Pop-Tart into your body.
I am highly caffeinated and minorly concussed.
Aruga!
What came first, the love sack or the gravity gun?
It's my turn to do a sin with Sonic.
This is for the freaks.
Too much piss.
That's the kind of bad decisions we like to hear about.
Love me a sleepy ass bat.
How much shrimp can you fit in your mortal body?
You told me you guys would be cool.
That's season 6 intro material right there.
Hello and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and T-Pain's new cover album.
Listeners, it was not 10 seconds ago that I said, hey, have you guys listened to T-Pain's new cover album? And Kyle said, Matt, shut up. That's my opening bit. We'll talk about it on recording. Here I am. I have listened to T-Pain's cover album, and it slaps. It slaps.
Nuts. It's so good. I posted it in our Discord, a link to it in our Discord. If you aren't in our Discord, you should go to patreon.com/debatethiscast and figure out how to do that. But T-Pain has a cover album, came out in this year, in the year of our Lord 2023, and it rules.
And one of the songs is War Pigs?
War Pigs.
Yeah.
That's what I was. That's where I was going next.
You could have given me, like, I don't know, 100 guesses.
The
Like,
track list
200
is
guesses.
insane, dude. The classical piano bridge in the middle of the album, just because T-Pain plays keys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen, I am secretly a pretty big T-Pain fan. Rappaturnt Singer was like a very instrumental,
seminal
in
album.
my childhood. Yes, absolutely. I fucking love T-Pain, and
On Top of the Covers is the name of the album.
Yeah,
dude,
it is.
His cover of Tennessee Whiskey fucks. It's so good.
Yeah, man.
It's all good. Listen to T-Pain's. Listen to On Top of the Covers, because it rules.
There's a T-Pain podcast now.
This is a
The
T-Pain
Debate This stands for T-Pain.
Debate T-Pain. I had this whole intro planned out. I don't want to do it because it's kind of dumb. Guys, we're doing a flavor text today. This flavor text was commissioned by friend of the pod, longtime debater, Sharkbait, who asked us to do a follow-up flavor text to our Avatar: The Last Airbender flavor text that I did 2 years ago.
Has it been 2 years since we talked about Avatar?
It sure has, Matt. 2021, those episodes dropped.
Oh, God.
Man.
Yeah, time is a cruel and fickle thing.
Sure is. Sorry, as you were.
No, you're good. I'm doing Avatar: Legend of Korra, the sequel series to Avatar: The Last Airbender. Guys, what do you know about Legend of Korra? What do you think? What are we expecting going into this?
Is this series done?
The series is
wrapped
done.
The story? Okay.
It has.
Well, I've shown my whole ass by letting you know that
10-ish years
I do
ago.
not know.
When did
Oh no.
last series finale aired in 2014. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm still, it's not a retro game yet. So I watched Avatar Original Recipe. I have not consumed Avatar Extra Crispy. And the only thing that I have watched out of any of this is clips that end up in my YouTube algorithm just because I am who I am. And at one point, I got into a big kick of watching just rad things the Benders were doing that didn't involve their original elements as described in the like original series. And I saw a woman shoot blasts of fire out of her head, out of an eyeball in the middle of her head. Yeah,
that's in the original. That's in the original series. It's a callback to that. Yeah.
Oh,
we'll get there. We'll get there, Tom.
Yeah, it seems like they took a lot of liberties with what element bending is at the end of this. Also, the clip you had us watch it like they keep referencing like, oh, the Avatar's out there and this American Gladiator thing, and it seems like no one actually gives a shit that there's an Avatar. Like this whole
We'll talk about that.
Okay, good, because again, knowing nothing about the series, they're like, oh, the Avatar is not doing great. I'm like, this is like a prophesized thing. There's like less than 10 of these things.
It'd be like if the Pope, it'd be like if the Pope played football and no one cared.
Right. Yeah, and they're like, well, Pope had a shoddy return on that punt, and you're like, but he's the Pope. Show some reverence. So that's what I know about Avatar, Legend of Korra.
I have also not watched Legend of Korra. I did, after the last flavor text, go back and finish Last Airbender. I had never seen the last season. So I've seen all of Avatar The Last Airbender now. I've not seen Korra. It's on my list. I know that it is objectively like a little bit less for me than the original Avatar is, but I'm really excited to hear about the story today. Most of what I know about it is what you and others in our weird little nerd circle have told me. And yeah, Kyle had Todd and I watch Andrew's not here. He died. Anyway, yeah,
He died.
He can't come to the phone right now. He's dead.
He did some experimental airbending.
Andrew not being here. Andrew not being here is why I forgot to do the nickname bit. So we're gonna just keep going without the nickname bit.
Well,
all right,
we can plug it in.
Yeah, we can plug it in if we want.
Yeah,
okay,
whatever.
Editing magic. Watch me.
Anyway, I have not seen Korra. I've heard a lot about it from you guys. Kyle had us watch a comp of pro bending, and boy, does pro bending seem awesome. I'm so into that. You showed me, the person who spent the last 3 nights watching 2021's series of BattleBots, a pro bending video, and I'm the whole way in, baby.
The pro bend. I knew the pro bending was gonna be a good hook for you, Matt, because you can't help but shout about knife sports every time
You're so right,
you get
Kyle.
the opportunity. And what is pro bending if not the knife sports of the Avatar world?
Truly.
What I liked most about it is that, like, obviously they're throwing blasts of fire because fire bending, and blasts of water bending, which inherently are not lethal. If you get hit by a blast of fire, you're probably not going to die based upon how much you're getting, or water's going through. But then they're throwing around big stone weights, and like that would kill a person. That would annihilate you.
Well, they kind of hand wave it that it's like they're soft clay, like it just like it like breaks on you and like knocks you around. But yes,
fair.
Yes. I want to throw a soft clay plate at Todd's chest and see how it does.
He wouldn't
Not
be
great.
happy.
No, would not be happy.
So, just like last time, guys, I am going to take us through all the seasons of this sequel and follow up to The Last Airbender. And also, like last time, I can't do it alone. And that is why I am joined by Todd Unalak Thomas and Matt Zahir Cole to take you through this wild series about bending sports, magically powered mechs, and how all of your heroes are flawed human beings and make mistakes just like you.
I have my hand raised.
Yes, Todd.
Magic powered mechs.
Magic powered mechs. Yep, we'll
Fantastic.
get there. You be patient, sweet little Todd. We'll get there. Before we dive in, I have one more question for you two. Please tell me, each of you, your like favorite cool bending you remember from The Last Airbender.
I'll go
I don't
first
care who
because
goes
I
first.
stole the one that Matt was gonna pick. So in Avatar: The Last Airbender, there's a scene where they're like raiding an airship, I think, and Toph like kicks in a door, and the metal door like lands on the floor, and then Toph jumps on the metal door and wraps the metal around herself and gets encased in all this metal armor, and then like does her impression of the ring girl and crawls on the ceiling and just ruins the day of these two guards who were just like James Bond henchmaning their day away. And suddenly this like wrapped in metal demonic child just ruins their whole day by just fucking up their shit mentally and physically. And I think that's rad.
I also was going to talk about metal bending because Toph is like objectively my favorite character in Avatar, but I dug a little deeper because Todd said he took mine, and I had one I was going to talk about, and then I found another I was going to talk about, and then in researching I was like, fuck those other two, I'm going to talk about this one. And the one I want to talk about is the guy named Who and the other water benders from the swamp, because my favorite bending moment is the giant swamp monster that the guy's like, I just use water bending to hang out in these vines. That's very funny. I like that they put a bunch of rednecks in that show, and also that they gave them swamp powers. That's very fun.
Good. Thank you. Remember those, because cool feats of bending are going to come up a lot in this recap, and we need a jumping off point to compare them to. One last thing before I dive in. Listeners, if you, to this point, don't know any of the things we are talking about, pause here and go listen to the flavor text I did 2 years ago. Flavor text, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Listen to that first, and then take 3 weeks and watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, because it is a fantastic piece of animation, and then come back and listen to this episode. But if you aren't going to do all that, a quick recap of Avatar: The Last Airbender is the story takes place in a world where people are born with the ability to control the four elements, fire, water, earth, and air, via a form of martial arts known as bending. There is a tyrannical Fire Nation attack on the rest of the world, and a small boy who is the Avatar, the only person able to do all four types of bending, has to master all four elements and overthrow the Fire Lord and save the world. That is...
Well, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, Kyle.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, Todd. That is doing a massive disservice to how good this series is. Again, please go listen to the flavor text, the previous flavor text, and go watch the show. But in case you didn't do that, I don't want you to be entirely lost. So let's get started. Legend of Korra takes place after the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender, 70 years after, to be exact. Upon defeating Fire Lord Ozai, Aang and his crew, affectionately referred to as the Gang for the rest of this, Gang with two A's, takes to undoing all the damage caused by 100 years of Fire Nation imperialism, and claim back territory claimed by the Fire Nation, and make it into a new nation, a new sovereign nation called the United Republic of Nations. It is the first democracy in this world. It's a new nation created with the intention to serve as a society where benders of all nations and non-benders can live and thrive together. The capital of the United Republic is Republic City. Naming conventions are great. And will serve as the main setting for at least the first 2 seasons of this show. It's kind of home base for the show. And a lot changes in 70 years. There's a big technological jump. Basically, we catch up to the series in kind of the middle to tail end of like its industrial revolution. All the advances the Fire Nation made, like through war, get shared with the rest of the nations. And there's like cars and electricity and like generally the whole vibe feels like the 1920s plus magic, if that makes sense. While Aang, Zuko, and everybody are building this new nation, Aang also has like the additional responsibility of rebuilding the air nomad nation and preserving their knowledge and culture and airbending. Aang and Katara have 3 kids, the youngest of which is named Tenzin, is the only airbender born out of the group. Tenzin is voiced by J.K. Simmons and is a main character in this series and rules. Yeah. And here he is. Yeah. Tenzin is the one on the right there. The one on the left is middle-aged Aang.
Middle-aged Aang, you say? He looks a little older than middle-aged to me. To me personally.
He's like, I don't know where the cutoff begins and ends for middle-aged, but that is like 40-year-old Aang.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah. So Tenzin there on the right is the first airbender born since the Fire Nation's genocide 120 years prior. Yada yada. We catch up. We fill in some more of like what Aang was up to throughout the run, but this isn't Aang's story. So like after a long life, after founding this new nation, Aang dies and the new avatar is born in the Southern Water Tribe.
I have a question for babies that don't know how things work like me. Is the way that it works is there's only like one avatar at a time? Like an avatar dies and then a new avatar can be born?
Yes. And they're always born in like the next, there's a order the elements are in, and they're always born in the next like bending to the next bending practice. So like after
is it well known that what that order is?
It's been figured out. So like in the last Airbender, we know the previous 2 avatars were Earth, then Fire, then Air. Avatar Kyoshi, then Avatar Roku, who was like the mentor to Aang throughout that series. And then Aang was Air, so next it would make sense as Water. So Water, South Pole.
Cool.
And we get Korra. Korra takes to bending very, very quickly. And when the Order of the White Lotus finds her at 4 years old, she is already very proficient in water, earth, and fire bending. So this is baby Korra.
Whoa.
This is 4-year-old Korra, I'm sorry. Water bending, she earth bent that hole in the wall behind her, and I couldn't find a good shot of her fire bending, but she does in this scene as well. She is a very headstrong, rambunctious, almost aggressive like avatar, especially compared to Aang, where Aang was like, very much an air nomad, very peaceful, very like tries to deflect. Korra is kind of like shoot first, ask questions later as an avatar, and it creates some good conflicts and some good things. So Korra first trains in waterbending with Katara, actually, down in the South Pole, and then with teachers from the other 2 nations who come to the South Pole to train her as well. She trains in earth and fire as well. And after she masters fire, asks like, hey, I would like to go to Republic City to train with Tenzin instead of having him come here. And everyone tells her like, no, you're not ready. He'll come here and train you. Like, you're not ready to go out yet. And she doesn't like that, but Tenzin's like on his way at this point. So she's like, cool, whatever. I'll wait for him to get here. Tenzin shows up and is like, hey, sorry to do this, but I've got something came up, and we learned Tenzin is a council member in Republic City. He's like, they don't have a a mayor or whatever. They're led by a council, and he's one of those council members. He's like, I got to go back to Republic City and do
He's a
council.
commissioner.
Do commissioner.
Tenzin's a county commissioner.
He's a comptroller. I got to go back and do politics. I can't stay here and train you. I'm sorry. Like, when things calm down, I'll try and come back later. Korra doesn't like that. She sneaks out that night, hops on a boat, and goes to Republic City with her polar bear dog, Naga. Naga is her, like, spirit animal, like Appa was to Aang, but not as fun as Appa. Appa was way cooler than Naga is. I'm sorry, any Naga fans out there. I don't care. Appa's the best.
It would have been hard for them to thread that needle twice. Like, Appa was something very special, and Naga is also very cool, but obviously just different. They couldn't have done large, frumpy, flying animal twice perfectly.
Yeah.
Can't top the Appa.
Can't top of the
Can't
Appa.
toppa the Appa.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. There's a good picture of Naga for us.
You go to a restaurant,
Korra
and
arrives.
you're like, sir, I'm here for tapas. And they're like, no, I'm sorry, we have Appa. You can cut that out, Todd. That's fine.
No, I'm leaving it. I want people to hear what you said.
The people need to know. Korra arrives in Republic City and is immediately overwhelmed by how big and busy and urban everything is. You know, she does the, like, typical first 5 minutes in New York thing of, like, steps off a curb and almost gets hit by a car, yada, yada, yada. She stumbles upon a protester trying to garner support for a group known as the Equalists. Korra listens as long as her temper allows to this protester as he pontificates about the oppressed nature of non-benders in Republic City and their exclusion from any unity efforts and representation on the in the United Republic, and talks about how they're bullied and tossed and, you know, made second-class citizens to all the benders in this new country they've created. And as he starts to talk about how benders wield their powers unchecked and how dangerous that makes it for non-benders, a car full of benders blasts through the square. And you know they're benders because they're, like, shooting fire and water and earth off as they plow through and start shaking down all of the local, like, businesses in the square. These are members of a mob, a organized crime syndicate in the city known as the Triple Threat Triad, which is the largest criminal organization in the United Republic. Korra intervenes, happy to have an excuse to, like, show off her bending and reveal herself as the Avatar, and apprehends them. And when the police arrive, they arrest the Triple Threat Triad and Korra for the disturbance. It should be noted, all of the police officers in Republic City are metal benders.
Shit.
I saw that.
That seems like a power you shouldn't give to that particular group of people.
Well, and they use cool, like, zip line.
Yeah, they have, like,
grappling hooks to get around.
retractable chains that they metal bend to, like, be, like Todd said, like, grappling hooks, or, like, to Spider-Man swing through the city.
It's
cuffs.
Isn't that
like Attack on Titan?
I was gonna say, isn't that an Attack on Titan thing?
Kind of.
Someone got it from someone.
Sure.
In prison, Korra is introduced to Police Chief Lin Beifong, which you may recognize is the surname of Toph Beifong. Lin is Toph's daughter, chief of the Republic City Police, following in Toph's footsteps as Toph founded and was the first chief of the Republic City Police.
This show made Toph a cop? I hate this show. I don't like this show anymore. Toph's no cop.
Matt, it's okay, because Toph leaves the cop life behind after
Good.
she learns what cops do. Lin starts to scold Korra for her reckless behavior when Tenzin storms in and advocates on Korra's behalf, claims responsibility for her, and is basically like, yeah, she's here for me. I'll take her under my wing. I'll take responsibility for what she's done. And Lin reluctantly agrees. And through this exchange, we learn that Tenzin and Lin may have had a romantic history together at one point in their life. So Tenzin takes Korra, agrees to train her, and takes her to Air Temple Island, which is an island in the harbor of Republic City where Aang built a new air temple to train his family. I'll also note that towering above Air Temple Island, I should say, is a 100-foot Statue of Liberty-esque statue of Aang. So all of Korra's struggles, especially in the first season, are under the shadow of this massive statue of Aang and its imagery that keeps coming back, and it's great. This is Lin Beifong in the show notes. Korra starts training with Tenzin and his family. Tenzin has a non-bending wife named Kaya and 3 kids named Jinora, Ikiki, and what's the son's name? The son is but all 3 kids are benders. The son is kind of your typical kid show character insert. He interjects a lot. He's supposed to be very cute. I find him very annoying, although a lot of fans seem to really like him. For the first 2 seasons, his big thing is that he airbends by farting, and I hate it. But again, I'm in the minority on this, and that's all I have to say for now about
Kyle.
This
to
kid.
your knowledge, before this kid fart bends,
Yeah.
has there ever been someone who has fart bended prior to that in
No.
all of the available
In
content?
fact, I think
Never?
later on in the show, in a later season, they credit Milo is the kid's name. I found it. They credit Milo with inventing fart bending. So there we go.
That's some real
Honestly,
Jar Jar
wow.
Binks shit right there.
It's a real Jar Jar Binks, and I again, you can be mad at me if you really love Milo. I will not apologize. I don't like this character. He gets better as the show goes on, and he ages up a little bit. But he's 5 at this point, and he acts like what Nickelodeon thinks a 5-year-old acts like, and it's obnoxious.
I'm trying to make the comparison of the first person that realized that they could fire bend by kicking and shooting fire through their feet. Oh, that's important. We're glad we figured this out. Or the first person who's I froze the sweat on my skin into small spikes so I couldn't get hurt. And they're oh, that's a really good one. You did that. We need to remember that. And someone's well, I farted and I used the fart air.
So the reason it comes up later is one of the requirements to being an airbending master, to achieving mastery in airbending, is creating a new technique.
You're gonna tell me he flies with his fart? Oh, okay.
No, it's but that's where it comes up, is they're talking about what techniques another master had created, and Milo chimes in I made fart bending, and it's
It sucks.
So Korra starts training and immediately struggles with airbending. She finds its reactive, patient nature very counter to her personality and aggressive style. She also struggles with the intangibility of air, where fire's very aggressive, so she takes to that, and then water and earth are very tangible things she knows how to manipulate, but air she really struggles with. And after some frustrating days of training, Korra starts to listen to coverage of pro bending matches on the radio during her downtime and immediately falls in love with the sport, just like Matt.
Can I ask you a question, Kyle?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this world that has gone through its industrial revolution and has cars
Mhm.
is still doing radio play-by-play? There's not like TV in this world yet?
I don't know when you think TVs were invented, but it wasn't the 20s. We had cars long before we had TVs. So
We did, yes, but like you pitched this whole thing as like, you know, their big mechanical revolution, and I've seen a lot of the shit in Legend of Korra now that I've been Googling it for like 25 minutes, and those cars aren't Model Ts.
You also said powered mechs.
yeah.
Makes
He
me
did say
think
powered
that
mechs.
TV isn't that far off.
So let me amend my earlier statement. It is, yes, there is a technological revolution. It's still it's steampunky. It's not
Okay.
fully mapped to like where our world is. It's a little steampunky, a little I guess magic punk is a good way, because like we'll find out later, they power things by like, they have power in the city because firebenders can make a living shooting electricity into like a generator, and that's how they
Yeah,
get
sure.
electricity. So sure. So Korra immediately falls in love with pro bending and asks Tenzin if they could like go watch a match one night, and he very angrily refuses. He's like, not only is pro bending a mockery and reduction of like these ancient martial arts, but also like this aggressive sport would be very counter to what I'm trying to teach you right now, which is to like focus on stillness and inner tranquility and just like becoming more one with like the silence of everything.
Just to put it out there, as of right now, the story of Legend of Korra, very similar to the story of Brink. Just saying.
Sure.
When he has to skateboard in the shadow of his mentor.
Yeah, kind of.
Skateboard under 100-foot tall Tony Hawk statue.
Do you think Tony Hawk would be an airbender? I mean, Tony Hawk's definitely-
probably.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
he's
want to
a-
believe he'd be
Didn't
an
they call him,
earthbender,
like-
so he could like make. Oh, he was
They
like
called him like
he was like
Birdman and like King of Air.
Airman.
Well, his
yeah.
Birdhouse is the name of his
Yeah.
skateboard company.
Right.
Yeah. So Korra doesn't like that. She doesn't like being told no. So she sneaks out after training that day and goes to Republic City's pro bending arena and meets lovable earthbending himbo Bolin, who tries to impress Korra by inviting her to watch their next match from the Fire Ferrets private box. The Fire Ferrets being the name of the pro bending team he is on.
Do they lose that next match immediately? Because that seems like the logical, hey, pretty girl, come watch me lose this game. That seems like how that goes.
Yeah, hey, let me see you, little mama. Let me whisper in your ear. I'm going to lose this match of firebending right here. That's what they say.
Hey, you got there. I'm impressed.
It was tough. I almost got lost along the way.
So we get to watch our first pro bending match, and it is rad. It is as rad as advertised. So quick pro bending rundown. Pro bending is played on a hexagonal field split into two sides. Each side is then like further split into three subsections. One side for each team. This field is on a raised platform over water, and each section of the field has little slots where earth discs rise out. So all three bending types that can participate in pro bending have access to a source of their bending. From there, they play a game of effectively capture the hill. They're king of the hill. They're trying to you're trying to push the other team further back into their side, if not knocking them off the platform entirely. The game ends after 3 minutes, or if all 3 members of a team are knocked off the platform. You claim sections of the platform by pushing all 3 team members out of it and like moving into it yourself. So like a winning by time would look like pushing them back at least into like the back 2 sections of the platform and then holding it until the time runs out.
That's really cool, honestly. And like, I was very impressed by how easy it was to like pick up the game that they were playing, the rules, the idea of like the 9-minute clip that you sent us, which is 9 60-second clips stapled together. Like,
yeah, it's highlights from all the pro bending matches we get to watch.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like, we've talked a lot about silly fictional sports on this podcast and its associated media, and so often when sports pop up in like shows or games that are made up and fictional, they're just so bananas and backwards that it's like, oh, well, this only exists in this crazy fictional world where there's not physics. But I liked that pro bending seemed like a sport that I could adapt as like a camp counselor and be like, all right, nerds, we're pro bending today.
Yeah,
get the dodgeballs.
And the rules make sense. Not unlike another fictional sport, Quidditch, where like when you think about Quidditch too hard, you're like, why would anyone make the rules this way? Someone definitely like thought about how this would play as a sport because they had to animate an entire season of a show where that focuses around the tension of winning and losing pro bending. So it's very cool. It's very fun to watch, and it gives us some just good like, it's a good way to have bending action scenes in every episode where it takes. So the match starts, and we see Bolin and the team's waterbender immediately get knocked off the field. Like, bell rings, Bolin is in the water. But Mako, Bolin's brother and Fire Ferret captain and Firebender, manages to gain a comeback and knock all 3 members of the opposing team into the water, winning them the match, moving the Fire Ferrets on to the next round. This picture here is Mako with the scarf and Bolin without the scarf.
Is Mako the one in the red and Bolin's the one with the green?
Yep, you got it.
Yep.
They make it real easy for us.
Yeah, they're brothers. Their dad was a firebender who married, or her dad was an earthbender who married a firebender. So yeah, they got one of each. Let's see. So Mako and the waterbender, he has a name. I didn't write it down. He never comes back again. He's the team waterbender. They get into a fight, and the waterbender quits the team, and the Fire Ferrets find themselves down a teammate and a waterbender, and their next match is in 15 minutes.
A plots amount of time.
So Korra, they're in their like locker room, invited by Bolin, chimes in and is like, hey, I can waterbend. In fact, I'm the Avatar. Could I be on your pro bending team? And Mako turns off his asshole switch and apologizes for like being so rude in front of the Avatar, and is like, hey, I don't know if you can do pro bending or not, but we're gonna forfeit the match without a waterbender, so find a uniform that fits, and me and Bolin will like try and eke out this win here. So Korra's thrilled. She gets to be in her first match and immediately learns like, hey, you can't just like decide to be a pro bender and then go compete in a professional level pro bending event and kind of starts getting her ass handed to her. When she stops waterbending and does like all three to try and like gain some ground, and gets a foul called on the fire ferrets right as Tenzin like enters the arena to see all of this unfold. There is a rules dispute. They've never encountered having the Avatar on your team, so they have to figure out what to do about that.
Well, there's a penalty on the Pope. No one expected him to the kickoff to be a field goal, and we don't know what to do with that.
And they decide that like you can have the Avatar on your team. She can only bend one element throughout the course of a match. The match continues, and as Tenzin continues to watch from like the crowd, he sees all of the things he's been trying to teach Korra to this point like start to come into effect. She's like, anticipating attacks and like dodging some discs that fly at her, and she like we get a like parallel from an earlier scene in the episode where like one of the lessons that she particularly struggles with in airbending is like this room of spinning panels basically, and like an airbender bends to get them all spinning, and then you have to like navigate through all these spinning panels without them hitting you, and she like gets whapped by these giant spinning wooden doors every time because she can't like wrap her head around like I need to watch how they move and then move. And then in this pro bending match, she like starts to move the way you're supposed to and is like spinning around all the things. It's very airbendery and parallel scenes. It's very cool. Tenzin notices this and allows her to stay on the fire ferrets as long as she blah, 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 keeps up with her training, doesn't let, all the things that come with like, you can do this if you keep up with your studies. So we move forward. The fire ferrets can't afford entry to the next big pro bending tournament in the city. This is where we learn Mako works days at an energy plant, lightning bending lightning into a generator for the city. And that covers their needs, but they don't have any extra money to like pay entry fees for pro bending matches. So Bolin goes busking and begging for money, and the triple threat triad uses his neediness, his desperateness, to recruit him for a job promising a big payday. The job goes poorly, and the triple threat triad gang and Bolin are captured by equalists. But not equalists like the doofy protester we saw earlier, but a vigilante force trained with like weapons that limit movement and chi blocking techniques that make your arms go limp and block your bending. They have like electric gloves, like taser gloves, basically. Too. They're like a minor paramilitary force in this city. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so Bolin and all of the triple threat triad members get captured by the equalists. The next day, Mako enlists Korra to go help him find Bolin. He's like, hey, he didn't come home last night. It's my brother. I got to go find him. She's like, yeah, let's go. I should note at this point, Mako and Korra kind of have like romantic tension forming at this point. They're both
will they, won't theys.
Some will they, won't theys. And so in between some lingering glances and romantic moments, they track Bolin down to an equalist rally. They go in, and we meet Amon, our villain for the season.
Ooh. Oh, I saw some clips of Amon.
Yeah. Amon is the leader of the equalist party in Republic City. He is a non-bender, and he always appears in this mask. So Amon dives into a speech about the injustices non-benders face at the hands of benders. He's not making bad points. Like, he's not wrong about how the non-benders are treated in this new world. But now, and so like he's going through this speech, he has the tied up members of the triple threat triad on stage with him. Yes, that is different. What is that?
That's the bad guy from Big Hero 6.
Oh yeah,
right.
it sure is.
Yeah. Amon looks at it. If you are less familiar with Legend of Korra than you are with Big Hero 6, Amon looks exactly like the bad guy from Big Hero 6.
Yeah. So Amon then tells, like, while he's giving this speech, he tells the crowd, like, I was chosen by the spirits to bring balance between benders and non-benders, since Avatar Aang ignored us and set up this like great society for benders. The spirits chose me to bring balance for us non-benders and taught me the techniques of energy bending, the thing Aang did to Fire Lord Ozai at the end of the series to take away his bending. So he demonstrates this. He takes the leader of the triple threat triad, has him untied, and this firebending leader attacks Amon, and Amon does like some moves, gets him in like an arm bar basically, and gets behind him, and we see this gang member, powerful firebender, shoot like electricity off, and then Amon energy bends him, and we watch the like electricity get weaker and transform into fire, and then we watch the fire get weaker and disappear entirely, and this guy can't bend anymore. So Korra and Mako see this. Korra flips out and exposes them, basically, like attacks Amon. Is like, you can't do that. And they free Bolin. They disrupt this rally and give all the equalists a new reason to hate benders and dislike the Avatar. Korra has a nightmare that night where Amon like attacks in her sleep and takes her bending away. She wakes up in a cold sweat. It will be a recurring theme throughout the series that Korra's identity is very tied to being the Avatar, where like Aang was not super into being the Avatar until he like had to be. The minute Korra figured out she was the Avatar, she was like, hell yeah, I'm the Avatar. Like, you all suck, but compared to me, let's do this. So like that is an ongoing theme throughout the show. We follow Tenzin to a Republic Council meeting, and we meet Tonraq, an ambitious political rival to Tenzin, and the Water Nation representative on the council in the United Republic. The two agree to launch a task force into investigating the Equalists and stopping Amon from taking people's bending away. Later, while Korra is listening to the radio, Amon interrupts a broadcast and announces that the increased crackdown on Equalists will only cause him to speed up the Equalists' plan at bringing equality to them.
Bringing very forceful and violent equality.
Yes. We meet Asami Sato, daughter of a wealthy businessman, heir to a fortune built making steel for the Fire Nation. That's where like her grandfather like earned money, and then her dad is now making a living a little more legitly in this new world, but you know,
but they're still war profiteers.
They come
on blood
from
money.
Yeah, they're war profiteers living with blood money. Here is Asami. Oh my god, it's a giant ass picture. So Asami comes in and immediately is like a fourth point in this like love rhombus that is formed between Bolin and Korra and Mako and Korra. Mako immediately gets like hard eyes for Asami after she hits him with her motorcycle. Mako and Asami hit it off. They go on a date, and they meet Asami's father, Hiroshi, the wealthy businessman, who agrees to sponsor the Fire Ferrets. He'll pay for new gear, pay for their entry into tournaments. He's like, yeah, I'm like happy to help any friend of my daughter's. Tonrock enlists Korra on his task force, and after a series of equalist arrests, Korra gets kind of big in her britches and challenges Amon during a press conference to a duel. She's like, grabs the mic and is like, Amon, if you're out there, I'm coming for you. And when we meet, me and you, one-on-one, no other equalists, you're going down. Amon immediately like interrupts the broadcast of this press conference to accept, but he says like, but not yet. He's like, we will fight, Korra, but not yet. We get like the teen love triangle episode between Mako and Korra and Bolan and Asami. And then Amon threatens the city, saying like, cancel all your pro bending events or suffer the equalists' wrath, which the next event is the pro bending finals, and the Fire Ferrets are one of the two finalists at this point.
Oh, we can't cancel the pro bending finals.
No. So the council is leaning towards canceling when Lin kind of enters the council chambers and is like, we don't negotiate with terrorists. The finals are happening. Like, I will have my police force like standing guard. The equalists will not do anything. We are having the finals.
Time
the
out.
finals.
I know this. Hang on. I know this probably sounds like thinking about this. Like, why don't you cancel the finals and take care of the terrorist? I just want to present a situation in which a masked figure was rampant in the United States and was like, cancel the Super Bowl or I'll blow up the city.
Not only cancel the Super Bowl that the Pope plays in.
yeah. Cancel Super Bowl XXIV Pope edition.
We wouldn't cancel that Super Bowl, Todd. I don't know where you're headed with this thought.
No Pope. No, I was just getting ready to say, Pope or no Pope, no one's canceling that Super Bowl that Rihanna, now carrying her baby, is performing at halftime in. And it's as you're describing this, I'm like, well, just cancel it. Then I'm like, no, wait, like,
nah.
There's too much ad revenue already baked in. We can't cancel it.
Yeah. So they go ahead with the finals. The finals happen. The Fire Ferrets lose to the Wolf Bats is the other team. This team has earned a reputation up to this point through the series of cheating to win. So the Wolf Bats win, and the Equalists, hidden throughout the crowd of the pro bending arena, attack. They start
They told us they were going to.
They told us they were going to.
Did.
They're hidden throughout the crowd. We see them like pulling their taser gloves out of various pockets and bags of popcorn, and immediately like stealthily take down first like the cops and Tenzin and the council who are all there, so that they can make way for Amon's grand entrance, who ropes down onto the field and takes away the wolf bats bending like in front of the whole crowd. He's like, watch, this is what I'll do to you. Like, you didn't listen to me here. And he like takes away the three benders bending. He wrecks the arena. It's a badass fight with Lin and Korra. Like, Lin is like Spider-Manning around the arena, fighting off equalists. Korra is quad bending, fighting Amon, but Amon eventually is able to escape. It's the next day, or it's a plot's amount of time later, and Korra is like wandering through. I have Sato Corp, which is wrong. It's Future Corp is the name of the Sato's company. Korra is wandering through Future Corp and overhears Hiroshi planning an attack with an equalist, what sounds like Amon and the equalists. and runs and tells Lynn. Lynn, Korra, and the police all come to Future Corp to look for evidence of this attack. And they get down into his lab where they find that he has, like, Future Corp has been making the taser gloves and the, like, they use like bolo, like thrown bolo whips to tie people up to.
Yeah.
He's been making those and supplying the Equalists with their weapons. And as
The
they find
warmonger
this,
has been making weapons? No.
yeah. And as they find this stuff, Hiroshi rolls out in a mech and attacks them because he's also been building mechs. This is where we learn that they have developed platinum, which in this universe is just the term for, like, super purified metal that doesn't have any, like, remaining earth in it that earthbenders can bend. So he attacks in this platinum mech and reveals, like, yes, I have been funding the Equalists. I agree with them. I am a rich and powerful man. I am made to feel weak by you benders, and that is my source of insecurity in this life. He says it in so many words. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
Sure.
And Asami comes in, and after he has subdued the police and Korra and Lynn, Asami comes in and he's like, Asami, like, help me. I'm like, we'll rule the Equalists and, like, run this town. And Asami puts on a taser glove and, like, tases her dad so that the police can take him away. Lynn, in the aftermath of this, Lynn quits the police force and is like, the police can't take down Amon. I'm going rogue and taking Amon down myself. I'm sick of this. Which is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So Tarlok is basically given command of the police, and the new team avatar, which is Bolin, Mako, Korra, and Asami, stop an Equalist attack after Tarlok has kind of cracked down on the city, and shows up and arrests not only the Equalists, but arrests Asami, Mako, and Bolin as well, citing a new curfew he has set in the city. He's like, it's too dangerous. We're cracking down on everyone. And because you guys all got wrapped up in this as well, I'm arresting you to, like, send a message, like, let the police handle this. Korra goes to confront Tarlok in his office, which is a really cool office that has, like, this big giant waterfall behind his desk, and the two fight. And it's another super bitchin' fight because Tarlok's a waterbender and he's got this cool waterfall behind him. Korra's a waterbender. It's just cool. Korra thinks she's about to win when Tarlok pulls out some bloodbending.
Oh, shit.
And bloodbends Korra and kidnaps her. He imprisons her in a platinum box, and after she figures out she can't do anything to get out, Korra meditates to contact past avatars, and instead kind of gets this vision of Aang mid action sequence. And we watch this flashback of Aang apprehending a crime lord named Yakone, who is also able to bloodbend, like, in this flashback without the full moon. The vision continues, and we learn that Yakone is Amon's father. And so at this point, Tarlok, like, we come out of the vision, Tarlok is confronted by the other council members. They're like, hey, where are these kids? Where's Korra? Like, what are you doing with these crackdowns? And he bloodbends the whole council and runs off back to his lair, to Korra, and is attacked by Amon in his office. Who we find we learn is resistant to Tarlok's bloodbending. Tarlok is unable to take down Amon because Amon can't be bloodbent, apparently. And Amon takes
his dad was a bloodbender. I'm not reading ahead. That's just a question. Okay,
yes.
I'll shut up. Go ahead.
So Amon, overpowers Tarlok and takes away his bending as well. Korra uses kind of that fight to escape. I think at one point, one of them gets slammed into her crate, giving her an opening to work with, and she gets out. Doesn't matter. Korra escapes. Amon breaks all of the Equalists out of jail, and everyone starts collectively planning how they could take down Amon. Plot's amount of time, I think it's later that next day, that night, Amon starts taking out, kidnapping the remaining council members at this point. The plan is escalating. The Equalists, are knocking on doors, pulling people out of home, pulling council members out of homes and kidnapping them. Tenzin is able to drive them off when they come to the air temple because Tenzin is a badass. And when they come for him, the kids help out. Lin shows up because, remember, they have a past. It's a whole thing. And Tenzin is the last remaining council member that hasn't been taken by the Equalists. Tenzin's wife has a baby. She's been pregnant very pregnant this whole time. So she finally gives birth. And with that, Tenzin is hey, I got to get my family out of here. Lin is yeah, you do. And she holds off the Equalists long enough for Tenzin and his family to escape. But she eventually gets overpowered and Amon removes her bending. We meet General Iroh, who is Zuko's grandson, leader of the United Republic military, and a cameo by Dante Brasco.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a really fun inclusion. General Iroh arrives with a navy and helps kind of push the Equalists back out now with this military force. Korra and Mako visit Tarlok in jail because he's in jail now, and we learn Tarlok's backstory. Tarlok and his brother Noatak are the two sons of Yakone, who taught them how to bloodbend without the full moon when he got out of prison after Aang put him in prison. But he was pretty abusy about it. As abusy as a Y7 show on Nickelodeon is allowed to be. So Noatak left. He's I'm not dealing with dad. I'm not learning bloodbending. I'm out of here. Donned the alias and persona of Amon and took the anger he had against his abusive dad out on every bender in Republic City, basically. Amon captures Tenzin and his family somehow. It's, we jump to Tenzin and all the airbenders at this point kidnapped, pulls them in front of a crowd of Equalists, promising to eradicate the last of the airbenders when Korra and Maka show up to free them. However, Amon escapes again. Asami tries to get one of her father's mechs to help, but her father, who has been let out of prison by Amon, stops her, also in a mech. So we get a little mech fight here as the season starts to wrap up. Bolin shows up and helps Asami take her dad down. Korra and Mako confront Amon, who manages to get the upper hand in that fight and takes away Korra's bending, which Korra's devastated. Korra is able to, or Mako is able to get Korra and starts to run away, but Amon keeps catching up with them and bloodbends Mako, stopping their escape, and is just about to wipe out Mako's bending when Korra, for the first time, in season 1 in 12 episodes, fires off an airbending attack, knocking Amon out of the window they're in and into the bay. Korra exposes Tarlok and Noatak for who they really are, ending the Equalists movement, getting Tarlok fully removed from council, and the two brothers escape and look as though they're about to go on the run to exact their revenge later. But while Amon is like monologuing about this, Tarlok just kind of quietly puts on one of those taser gloves and blows up the fucking boat they're in, killing them both. Yeah.
Oh no.
He unscrews the gas cap on the boat, and like you watch him hover his hand with the glove on it, and you see the electricity crackle, and then the camera cuts away to the boat blowing up from a huge distance.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah. Legend of Korra goes as far as you can with a Y7 rating in all 4 seasons, and it's further than you think. So we have our victory, gathering. Korra goes off alone. Glad they won, but sad she lost her bending. When the spirit of Aang appears to her and is like, hey, good job. Here's your bending back. Also, here's how to energy bend so you can undo what Amon did to everyone. And she gives everyone their bending back. Korra and Mako make out. Everyone lives happily ever after. Or they would have if Nickelodeon didn't pick up Legend of Korra for another season. We open book 2 with Team Avatar headed to the South Pole for the annual Spirits Festival, which is whatever holiday you want it to be. It's the yearly holiday in the Avatar universe. Shortly after they arrive, so does Unalaq, chief of the Northern Water Tribe, uncle to Korra, brother of her dad, and emitter of bad vibes. Just the minute he's on screen, you're like, that's our bad guy. With him are his 2 twin children. They're everyone else's age. They're, Korra, Mako, and Bolin's age. Eska and Desna. Eska is voiced by Aubrey Plaza. So we get a recurring Aubrey Plaza character in this show. Their whole thing is that they're twins. They act exactly alike. They look exactly alike. And they act like your stereotypical Aubrey Plaza character. They're like morbid and weird and creepy. It's a good bit. It's a good bit that runs for the rest of the show. But they don't do a whole lot. Bolin gets a crush on Eska. Hilarity ensues. Unalaq, a professional wet blanket, walks through this festival and basically tells everyone, hey, this festival is a disgrace to my culture, to the spirits, and everything. You are bringing if you dishonor the spirits much longer, there will be some kind of karmic payback. I warn you. And he leaves, and everyone writes him off as a party pooper in a wet blanket, except a dark spirit attacks the festival later that night, and he is the only one who is able to do anything against this spirit. No bending really phases it. It slows it down for a minute, but doesn't really do anything. He shows up and he does some move, and the spirit dissipates into light. And everyone's like, hey, that's cool and weird.
Nobody notices that as odd.
No, not at all. Unalaq
They
tells
certainly
Korra.
haven't seen the second Spider-Man movie.
Right.
Unalaq tells Korra that the physical and spirit worlds are out of balance, and that if she would just accompany him to a closed portal located here in the South Pole, they could reopen this portal to the spirit world and help start to restore balance in the world. So they do that.
Hey, never accompany anyone to.
Never
the
go with anyone to a
sketchy
second
portal.
location. Never
Right.
go with anyone to a second location.
Never go with anyone to a second location. First location's fine.
They do that, and that goes very well. There's no problem with the like portal opening mission. However, the very next day, the Northern Water Tribe's military rolls into the South Pole and occupies it, takes over, starting the Water Tribe Civil War, as it is referred to in this show. We cut away to see what Asami and Bolin are up to. Asami is running Future Corp now with her dad in jail and all. And she brings Bolin with her to a meeting brings Bolin to a meeting with a potential investor as backup, as plot. You know, he's like, but these two people need to be in the same room. And we meet one of the most entertaining characters in this entire series, Varric, who is this universe's Tony Stark. He's terrible and great and so much fun to watch. He's a billionaire. They don't say that, but like that's the closest analog we've got. He's an inventor. He has shifty morals, and again, can't stress enough, is just so much fun to watch. There's Varric in all his glory.
What is that tie ascot thing this man is wearing?
That's weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a Thai ascot. He is, like I said, he is a fast-talking, eccentric inventor, businessman. Very, very fun to watch. Varric likes the cut of Bolin's jib and agrees to invest in Future Corp and generally help Team Avatar. Great. Varric uses his yacht to help Korra escape the South Pole and return to Republic City, where Korra petitions the president of the United Republic to help the South Pole, the Southern Water Tribe, get the Northern Water Tribe out. But the president of the United Republic says, like, that's Water Tribe problems, an entirely different sovereign nation. I can't super get involved in that. You're going to have to deal with it yourself. Mako, now a cop, sides with the president and tells Korra that, like, this is a political issue. The two tribes need to figure things out for themselves. Mako is more cop than any other cop in this show at this point. He gets pretty coppy for a while. Korra returns to the South Pole, but is eaten by a giant spirit before she can arrive.
Whoops. Hate it when that happens.
Varric, looking for ways to help without actually getting involved in the war, starts making pro-South Pole propaganda, starring Bolin as the fictional Water Tribe hero. We run this like weird, like old Hollywood romp for the rest of half the remaining season, where like they roll into a new town, they show the new movie, and then like Bolin comes out and gets like applauded as this movie star, and it's weird and fun.
He's Captain America.
Yeah,
He's Captain America.
Man with a plan.
Yeah.
Mako and Asami get back together almost the instant Korra leaves. They're like Korra. He's like, Korra was mean to me, and you're pretty, and they get back together. Mako, the cop, is investigating a series of bombings when he discovers that the remote trigger used in the detonations was invented and supplied by Varric, who, surprise, has been a bad guy this whole time. He plants evidence that Mako is in fact the supplier of this remote trigger and gets Mako arrested. I have it in the notes as Varric pulls some rich guy magic and gets Mako arrested, which is kind of true. He gets false evidence planted on Mako, gets the cops on his payroll to arrest him. It's a whole fun thing. Bolin knows nothing of this at this point, by the way. Bolin is just like still Varric's guy at this point. Korra wakes up on an island in the spirit world and is shown the history of the very first avatar, Wan, this whole story will be relevant to the remainder of this season. Way back when humans and spirits first cohabitated last time, humans would build their settlements on the backs of lion turtles and who would grant them temporary bending to protect them from spirits. Much like we saw the lion turtle in The Last Airbender give Aang energy bending. They would do that but the agreement was like, yeah, you're baby humans, I can't like trust this with you permanently, so like once this you protect your homes, I'm taking your bending back. And it was a fine agreement. No one had a problem with that. Except Wan was looking for a better way to coexist with the spirits and becomes the first human to like talk to spirits, befriend them, and basically became an ambassador between the humans and spirits. He's hanging out with some spirits one day when the two intertwined spirits embodying light and darkness crash into the scene. Rava and Vatu, respectively. Rava, the spirit of light and order, and Vatu, the spirit of darkness and chaos. They rolled their eternal fight through the valley where Wan was chilling, and Wan breaks the two spirits up. But this is bad, actually, because what looked like a fight was actually like Rava keeping Vatu in check for all of eternity. They had this eternal fight, light and darkness, yin and yang, balancing each other out for eternity, and Wan intercedes and disrupts the balance. Rava starts shrinking. Now that Vatu is out and loose, her power is waning as more chaos grows in the world. Vatu gets stronger and Rava gets weaker. And Rava exposits all of this to Wan, telling him like, hey, yeah, you screwed up, you meddling human, like you humans all do. You messed with something you don't understand, you messed things up, and bad things are going to happen now. Wan offers to help, and Rava is like, well, what are you going to do? You're a human. And Wan's like, well, I could go get some bending from a lion turtle. And she's like, that's not going to do anything. Why don't you get all 4 bendings from the lion turtles? That might help. The lion turtles kind of agree, but the agreement is that they're going to give Rava the ability to grant bending to Wan as he masters them. So like he gets one, and when he masters it, Rava can give him the next one. And if he is able to learn them and masters all 4 styles of bending before Sozin's Comet returns before harmonic convergence, which is a totally different thing.
Right.
And Super isn't just Sozin's Comet again?
Yeah. Harmonic convergence is an event that happens every 10,000 years where the spirit world and the natural world are like overlaid on each other, aligned, whatever you want to call it. The spirit, it's the closest the spirit world and the physical world come to each other. Happens every 10,000.
That's like 16 days from now in Korra's world, right?
You nailed it, Matt. It is
Yep,
a week. It's a week away.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah. But if Wan is able to master all 4 elements before in the year's time, he could help bind Rava back to Vatu, restoring the balance between order and chaos again. So they start doing that. They start training in all the bendings. They almost get there. And just a few days before the harmonic convergence, Juan and Rava come across some humans who are like burning a forest away because they know some spirits live in there, and they're like, we're just getting rid of these spirits before they become a problem. Rava gets pissed, lashes out against the humans, telling them like, hey, this is real dangerous and real close to harmonic convergence, and like you're disrupting balance, you're giving more power to Vatu, and like you, again, ignorant humans messing with things you don't understand. She steps in. Some spirits show up at this, the forest spirits they're trying to drive away show up at this point, and a fight breaks out between the humans and the spirits, which further weakens Rava. Rava is like shrinking and shrinking this whole time, and this fight breaks out, and she's like getting like dog-sized, cat-sized at this point. Juan tries to intervene, but he's not strong enough to stop these groups from fighting. Rava is too weak to help as well, so she merges with Juan at this point, giving him full control of all 4 types of bending. They merge, they end the skirmish, but this is like too much for Juan, merging with the embodiment of light and order. So he passes out, and Rava has to separate from him to save the 2 of them. And they escape. And with the 2 of them no longer holding off this fight, the humans and spirits resume their conflict and fully destroy the forest and each other. Rava is now too small and weak to continue their journey towards this portal for harmonic convergence. So Juan wakes up and carries her there. They enter the spirit world together and are greeted by Vatu, who challenges small, weak Rava for supremacy. Juan steps in, won't allow Vatu to fight Rava without going. He's like, to get through her, you got to go through me. I got all 4 bendings now. I think I can take you. Rava, impressed by Juan's heroism at this point, and overcoming her anti-human prejudice, bonds with Juan again, and the 2 fight Vatu to a stalemate. As harmonic convergence begins, Juan uses the energy given off by this event to fuse him and Rava together permanently, making Juan now the first ever avatar, like in total. He's got the bending, he's got the connection to the spirit world. He is now the first ever avatar. The 2 now working together as one being in the avatar state, trap Vatu in the tree of time, blah, 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 work to restore peace, blah, 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 set up the avatar cycle. You get it. As this exposition wraps up, we learn that it is Unalaq's intention to merge with Vatu at the harmonic convergence, much in the way Juan merged with Rava the first time. He wants to kill Korra, kill Rava, end the legacy of the Avatar once and for all, and establish himself as a new anti-Avatar, I guess. Yeah, that's his whole plan. We cut back to Tenzin and his family. They're on vacation.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Neat.
By family, I mean the whole family. Tenzin also has Tenzin's 2 siblings, Bumi and Kaya, are there. Bumi is the oldest. He cannot bend anything. And Kaya is the middle child and is a waterbender. Tenzin is the youngest and the only airbender. Korra interrupts this vacay and asks for help stopping the spirit of chaos and disorder. Tenzin tries to help Korra meditate into the spirit world. But it's here we learn that it's actually one of his daughters, Jinora, is much more naturally gifted with spirit things than he is, and she's the one that helps her into the spirit world. Korra goes on another spirit world journey, and this time she meets real Uncle Iroh in the spirit world, who does the Uncle Iroh thing and passes on some wisdom and makes millennials cry and then leaves. The wisdom is something along the lines of like, you've got what you need in you to beat this force, implying that you are still the Avatar and therefore have Rava like merged with you, who would be a great help in fighting Vatu, the evil spirit. The whole thing yada yadas into the harmonic convergence happening. Unalaq merges with Vatu to become the Naga Avatar, and there's a big avatar.
Naga Avatar.
Perfect.
And there's an avatar off, which involves Unalaq and Korra both becoming huge, giant, kaiju-sized embodiments of their merged spirits, and they have a Pacific Rim fight in the harbor of Republic City, and it's great. It's the big fight for the season. Korra is able to win. However, in doing so, Rava finally dies. She loses the last of her power and dies, and Korra's connection to past avatars is severed entirely, ending the avatar cycle once and for all.
Oh, damn. That seems like
that's
a
going to
big
be our
deal.
flavor text here today. Thank you, everyone. That's a wrap on Avatar.
Once and for all. No, except there was a little nugget of exposition in the Wan backstory that the reason Rava and Vatu are eternally tied in this struggle is because they are a second set of spirits in this lore based on the concept of yin and yang. The first you might remember from book 1 of The Last Airbender were the moon and ocean spirits, ever in balance, pushing and pulling, blah, blah, blah.
This felt a lot like that.
Yeah. Rava and Vatu are similar. Like their introduction, even like they roll in like in a ball shape. The symbolism is very apparent, as Todd picked up on. But they also have the added lore that Rava and Vatu each contain a small bit of like light and darkness, the opposite, in them, respectively. And any victory that one would have over the other is temporary, because one must always exist with the other, and the other will always be born out of that small piece of the opposite that resides within the other. Balance, you see. So Korra is able to bond with this new reborn Rava, connecting her again to the line of avatars, but not. Basically, she's still able to avatar and able to like reincarnate after death as the avatar, but she can't talk to any of the old avatars anymore. She cleared her browser history, for lack of a better word analogy. As harmonic convergence ends, Korra goes to close the spirit portal in the South Pole, but has a very avatarish thought of, what if I don't? Logicking out that separate but equal can't ever be. Logicking out that closed spirit portals led to this imbalance / kaiju fight in the first place, and that leaving them open might be rough at first, but is probably better than like this happening again in 10,000 years and having no spirits on Earth for 10,000 years. Here she tries to consult Aang or any of the past avatars of like, hey, what would you guys do? And remember, she can't do that since the patch. So she asks Tenzin, who is like, hey, I'm way out of my league here. You're the avatar. Whatever you do can't be that wrong, right? So she decides to leave the portals open, and everyone lives happily ever after.
It's like the Pope going to his brother's wife and being like, hey, how do you feel about the sacraments?
And they're like, I don't know. You're the Pope.
How do you feel about that?
Aren't you the Pope?
And that's season 2. And we're going to take a quick break, and I'll come back and talk about seasons 3 and 4, and also about how Nickelodeon maybe ruined the longevity of this show by being a money-hungry corporation. All of that right after this break.
Do you guys remember when I unpacked some religious trauma and I told you the story about how one year at church camp, we sang that song that was like, give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it. And it was like, because we had to pretend it was coming from Jesus, like Jesus wants you to give him his heart. Well, just like Rob Thomas and Carlos Santana made all of us smooth with Jesus, Manscaped will make you smooth using their wonderful products.
Wow.
Incredible.
I hope that we are the first Manscaped sponsored podcast
To evoke Jesus
to ever
in the
put
ad.
the words "one time at church camp" in a Manscaped ad.
I will add, Andrew, that we did not listen to covers of Smooth at my church camp, but we did have a Smash Mouth cover band.
Good.
And what I will say is that after using Manscaped, I am a believer that it is a good tool for your family jewels.
This is art.
You had a cover band that played another band's cover.
You know what else is kind of like a cover of a cover? The Lawnmower 4.0 is kind of like a cover of the Lawnmower 3.0, which you could kind of think of as a cover of the Lawnmower 2.0.
Wait, are all upgrades covers?
I don't know that, Andrew, but I do know that this 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology.
With Manscaped, you'll be an all-star. Was that anything? Was that something?
That was pretty good. I like that a lot, actually.
If you're covering Smash Mouth in 2000X,
Right.
you have to do I'm a Believer. Like, it's
Right.
it's the Shrek song. It's the song that they did for Shrek.
Much like Shrek, I used to live in a swamp, but now, due to Manscaped's crop preserver ball deodorant, I am no longer living in a swamp. It has changed the way I approach my hygiene routine. Trust me when I say this, your balls are going to thank you.
Hey, is this the best ad anyone's ever made for
Might
anything?
be.
It's up there.
Use code DEBATETHIS at checkout, 20% off and free delivery, because we're really working here. This is good shit.
Once again, that is 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code DEBATETHIS, all one word. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
All right, we're back. I'm going to go through seasons 3 and 4 much more quickly than I went through seasons 1 and 2. I just didn't want to leave anything out in those seasons because they're the hook, and I wanted to get y'all hooked. But before I go through seasons 3 and 4, I want to talk a little bit about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff with Nickelodeon and Legend of Korra. So, Avatar: The Last Airbender was a surprise success for Nickelodeon. It was popular with kids and popular with a very hard demographic for Nickelodeon to lock down, like young teens and tweens. Avatar: The Last Airbender also was like very well timed to help keep an audience of now, at this point, younger millennials who were aging out of some of Nickelodeon's more traditional programming. It was able to keep them watching the network, buying merch, and generally not changing the channel. This was good. Nickelodeon liked this. This is why Legend of Korra got picked up in the first place. This is shown especially in the years between The Last Airbender and the start of Legend of Korra as like the hype for the M. Night Shyamalan movie was building, and that ultimately disappointed everyone. But people my age especially were just buying merch and rewatching The Last Airbender and buying Hot Topic shirts. There's not one sitting at the bottom of my closet right now. No, sir. And the graphic novels that came out during season 1 and 2 were popular enough that they are still making these graphic novels today. The whole series is popular enough that it's going to be like a tentpole of Paramount Plus here once things start releasing. This is a very popular series.
They are releasing a tabletop RPG system.
Yes.
For Avatar: The Last Airbender.
However, Nickelodeon didn't know how to sell it or capitalize on it in a way they felt appropriate. Also, between the end of The Last Airbender and the premiere of Legend of Korra 4 years later, a small independent online DVD and Blu-ray rental company known as Netflix launched a streaming service where viewers could pay $7 a month and watch whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, wherever they wanted. In fact, this was like Avatar: The Last Airbender being on Netflix was a good sign to Nickelodeon that they should make more Avatar content because it was very popular on Netflix at the time. Because it's a good show. And early adopters of Netflix were right in that range of like still liked kids cartoons they grew up with, but wanted a more mature show, which all went into the creation of Legend of Korra. Popular show, dedicated fan base, coming into an age where they have disposable income. Let's age the content up a bit. We make money. Viewers get more show. Everyone's happy. However, what Nickelodeon did not anticipate was that this same crowd was really into Netflix because it was $7 a month, very easy to use and cancel, and that to watch Nickelodeon, you had to buy a $100 cable TV package, set up a permanent device in your living situation, and watch things on Nickelodeon's schedule, which, as someone who was trying desperately to watch Legend of Korra as it was airing, was very difficult. So Korra became one of the most highly pirated shows, especially for Nickelodeon while it was airing, because millennials gonna millennial. Nickelodeon noticed this, and rather than like trying to meet viewers halfway, tried to drown this baby instead, and started playing the shifting schedule game networks do with shows that they're trying to off. This all started during season 3. Episodes started getting delayed. Nickelodeon accidentally leaked 4 episodes to Mexico, or through Nickelodeon Mexico.
Whoops.
Way ahead of schedule. And generally just kept making it harder and harder to watch, hoping to use the decreased viewership to justify not signing on a 4th season. However, Nickelodeon went so far as to even like the last 4 episodes of season 3 did not air on TV. They were only on Nick.com, which was like Nickelodeon's attempt at a streaming service at this time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was awful. I hated it. Almost stopped watching the show entirely at this point. Season 4 aired entirely on Nick.com. It did not air on Nickelodeon until after the fact. It had to go through Nicktoons channel, like the premium Nickelodeon channel first before it aired on Nick. It was real bad. It was real bad and hard to watch. So that is something we dealt with. This show feels much less connected season to season than The Last Airbender does, because Nickelodeon only renewed it 1 season at a time for its entire run. Pooling this with season 4 at 3 and 4 as well. It was real bad. These episodes have some really great stuff. The writers and animators clearly leaned into the idea of like, if we're going down hard. These episodes get much darker, much heavier, much edgier, but not in the Shadow the Hedgehog way, but in a like, I can't believe they got that by the censors way. Season 3 is we'll get into season 3, so I won't spoil that. Season 4 is all about like how fascism rises in a power vacuum, and in like a real life, like how fascism actually happens, not in a J.K. Rowling like the bad guys are bad because they're bad fascism. And again, I can't overemphasize how hard they swing in these last 2 seasons. It's really good stuff. So let's get to it. Season 3 kicks off by showing us a Republic City dealing with the after effects of Korra, basically merging the physical and spirit worlds. First consequence we see is that there are all these kooky spirits everywhere, and it's inconvenient at best and aggravating and dangerous at worst. The second consequence is that everyone blames Korra not just for the spirits, but for all the damage from her and Unalaq's kaiju fight in the harbor that happened at the end of last season. And the third consequence, and the one that's going to be an actual plot point, is that there are more airbenders now. Following the harmonic convergence, people who weren't previously benders can suddenly airbend. The first one we learn about is Boomy, Tenzin's brother, was a non-bender before harmonic convergence, is sitting at the dinner table one day and sneezes and blows everyone at the table into the wall behind him because he, surprise, can airbend now.
Sneezebender.
Oh.
Sneezebender.
That you're a bender. You're a air bending master. You invented sneeze bending.
We see sneeze bending in The Last Airbender. It happens.
It's best to just not think more about bodily actions and airbendings because it gets bad quickly.
It gets bad. So Korra, we get a nice little scene. Korra and Asami now are both like over their mutual like crushes or whatever with Mako. We get to see them just having some fun. Gals being gals. Wink. We get a little adventure of Tenzin, Boomy, and the kids going through Republic City, finding all the new airbenders, inviting them to come study at Air Temple Island. Some join, but it turns out that your average Republic City citizen doesn't want to abandon their families and lives and live with a strict monastic lifestyle just to get better at this power they didn't have a week ago.
It is kind of a wild thought, though, that they'd be like, "Oh, you can now airbend." Well, hey, what if you just drop everything?
It's a whole like everything? literally that's Tenzin's pitch to these people is like, you get to come and study real hard and meditate all the time, and everyone and most of them are just like, no. I don't.
Most of them were like, no, watch me do this cool frisbee golf trick.
Yeah.
Like, they're just not going to be into it.
We then cut to another new airbender who's named Zahir, who uses his new powers to break out of the Triskelion-ass prison we meet him in.
I was like, we heard the name Zahir already, and then I realized it was the nickname bit.
It's your nickname.
At the very beginning.
Zahir is voiced by Henry Rollins. Zahir is
what?
Yeah.
Holy shit, man! You gave me Rufio from Hook and Henry Rollins in this show. God damn.
Yeah. Zahir is the big bad of this season, and Zahir rules. Zahir is cool. Where all the other new airbenders are like accidentally airbending or like able to make little like bits of air, Zahir is like immediately an airbending master, and we never get a full explanation as to why. However, we learn like Zahir is he's very spiritual, he's very educated and philosophical and smart, and again, he just rules. There's all kinds of theories as to how he's immediately amazing at airbending. It's not important. Just know like he's immediately awesome at airbending. Zahir, we learn, was in this elaborate prison for leading an assassination attempt on Korra when she was a toddler. He and his crew, he and his crew, who he goes on to break out of their respective elaborate Magneto prison cells, are members of a secret society and offshoot of the White Lotus called the Red Lotus, which you may remember the White Lotus is like the secret society Uncle Iroh was a part of. They're dedicated to generally helping the Avatar and maintaining order. The Red Lotus, this offshoot, posits that the White Lotus and the Avatar have become a tool of the capitalized state and want no part in that, hence the split. So once free, Zahir gets to work freeing his crew, who happen to be some of the most dangerous benders ever to assemble. These were, again, White Lotus members like Uncle Iroh plus level bending, who quit and started their offshoot. He starts with Ghazan, who is kept far out to sea in a wooden prison, for he's not only a master earthbender, but he's also the first magma bender we have seen since Roku tried to fight a volcano in The Last Airbender.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
We're doing like a Suicide Squad thing. We're just getting all the worst ones.
Yeah.
It's a Suicide Squad, definitely. So together, Ghazan and Zahir go break out Minghua next. She's kept in a metal cell suspended over an active volcano because she is a waterbender. Volcanoes, great for keeping your waterbender from bending, very bad when you have a magma bender trying to break her out of it. Minghua is notable for not having arms and instead water bends fake arms or tentacles or whatever instead. She has
That's really dope.
Yeah. Like I said, some of the most powerful benders ever assembled. While these breakouts are going on, Team Avatar figured they've now spoken with all of the new airbenders in Republic City, need to go outside the city to recruit more, and where better to go than the largest city in this world, Ba Sing Se,
where there is no war.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se. They do that. They take a train into Ba Sing Se. We learn this is where Mako and Bolin's parents were from before they moved to Republic City for a chance at a better life. And as the train enters Ba Sing Se, we are met with we are like hit with these images of just like poverty, overcrowding, crime, rundown buildings, etc. That is until they cross into what is known as the inner ring of the city, which is opulent, wealthy, safe, and all around bougie. Real class divide in this city. Driving home, Ba Sing Se is still super corrupted. Just making sure you know that right off the bat.
Because that was kind of the bit in Last Airbender too, right?
Yeah,
that is. Ba Sing Se was like very segregated, inner ring to outer ring.
Yes,
segregated is the wrong word. It's very classist. Inner ring.
Segregated is segregated by class. And it's
sure.
The implication here is that it is worse. They have to show passports to move into the inner ring to show that they're like allowed to be there. It's a whole thing. They meet the Earth Queen, who is the daughter of the Earth King, the weenie Earth King from The Last Airbender. And she sucks. She swung in the opposite direction of her father and is an absolute tyrant, but also still like has no idea how to rule, doesn't super know what's going on, but is evil about it. Instead of being like a lovable goofball about it, she's just like evil about it. Korra explains what's going on with the airbender, with the new airbenders, and the queen agrees to let them search the city if they complete this fetch quest for her and go return some tax money that some bandits stole from her. Sure. We cut back to Zahir and his crew, the two other benders he has freed, starting their last prison break. The people involved with stopping Zahir have caught on now that he's coming for the last member of his crew. And we get like Lin and Firelord Zuko shows up on a dragon to help stop him. But they are overpowered by Zahir, Ghazan, and Minghua almost immediately, and they break the firebender out of the group of the group out of this special cell in the wilderness of the South Pole. Her name is Pli. She uses the same firebending technique as Combustion Man. I don't know his actual name, but if you watch...
I think his actual name is Combustion Man.
I think he is only known as Combustion Man.
Wait, remind me what Combustion Man did.
Combustion Man uses a special firebending technique where he shoots a concentrated like bullet of fire out of his third eye, his forehead.
This makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when it hits its target, it like explodes. So it's like very focused, concentrated firebending. Pili does it better. She can curve the bullet.
Yeah, she does.
If she can do the wanted trick and curve that bullet as this season goes on. She is also Zahir's like romantic partner. You want them to like turn on each other eventually, but like they're actually pretty sweet together. They're a legitimate couple. So they pull off the jailbreak because it's in the South Pole and because of like who's there, Lin is able to like then go to Republic City and be like, and tell Korra like, hey, this guy tried to assassinate you 13 years ago. He's back. He has his crew. You are in danger. You gotta stop your like airbending finding mission. And Korra's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not afraid of this guy. Back in Ba Sing Se, the team splits up, and Mako and Bolin go looking for clues about these bandits in the poor outer circle when they get robbed by one of these new airbenders named Kai. He's a minor character. He's going to pop up from time to time. He's a reformed street urchin, basically. He's lived this long by committing petty crimes. Airbending helps him commit petty crimes better for a while, and then plot happens and he joins the team. He also ends up as a love interest of one of the oldest of Tenzin's kids, Jinora. They are like love interests. That all matters. There's not a better place to tell you all that, but that all matters later. So with no money, no passports, and like no way back to the palace, Bolin and Mako have to like resort to their old street orphan ways and sleep on the street, steal food, etc. And they end up meeting first their cousin, and then their uncle, and then their whole entire extended Ba Sing Se family. And they go home with them. They're poor, but they're all happy to see them. There's this nice reunion. Bolin and Mako like fill in their who is their grandma. They're meeting for the first time. They tell him they basically have to tell their grandma like, no, mom and dad died when we were young. But we're here now. And then Mako gives their grandma back his signature scarf, which we've learned was his dad's scarf. It's a whole thing. It's nice. They also witnessed the Dai Li kidnap Kai off the street. And when they get back to Korra, they tell her, like, hey, the Dai Li is kidnapping airbenders. And Korra doesn't like that. However, before they meet back up, while Bolin and Mako's story is going on, Korra and Asami are also hunting the bandits, find them, and manage to beat them, but have this moment of like, are we the baddies? When the bandits, after being beaten, tell Korra like, no, the queen is like overtaxing us. We stole this back to try and like, we're gonna give it away, we're gonna redistribute it, like, but like we need this money to live, because again, the queen is just taking everything from us. Korra still takes the money back to the queen, but has some words with her. Tosses the bag at her feet so it all spills out, has some words for her, and has since met up with Mako and Bolin, so she confronts the queen like, hey, where are you hiding all of the airbenders that you're taking off the street? And the queen replies, now, there are no airbenders in Ba Sing Se.
Oh,
Great.
look at that.
Great.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Lin warns Korra again that, like, hey, Zahir's coming. Let me take you back to Republic City where I can, like, have the whole police force protect you. And Korra is like, no, not leaving without the airbenders. So Jinora is able to, like, astral project because she's so connected to spirits. That's her new airbending technique. By the way, she uses that for her mastery of airbending. And she astral projects to Kai because they're, teens and in love, and finds the location of the airbenders. Everyone goes there. They bust the airbenders out in this cool scene. We learn that the Dai Li has been attempting to train these airbenders to be the Queen's airbending army. They are a conscripted army by the Queen. They are teaching them airbending via, like, earthbending techniques. So it's this very awkward, like, this doesn't quite work, but, like, you're doing motions and can airbend, so air comes out thing. But they break them out. All these new airbenders, like, use the techniques they learned to fight off the Dai Li, and that's all great. But as they're escaping, Bolin points out to Korra, like, hey, everything the Queen did is legal because she's the Queen, and this is just basically a draft. And, like, we're breaking the law right now. And Korra's like, okay, we'll leave the city. And they do. They take all these airbenders, they leave the city. And Tenzin is able to convince them all to come back to the Air Temple Island to train, because their alternative is, like, going back home in Ba Sing Se, where they're poor and broke and now criminals for abandoning their military conscript. So Tenzin takes the airbenders back to Air Temple Island. Korra and Team Avatar continue on to find more airbenders, and they do that in a city Lin recommends as a very safe place for them to go be, which is this earth-bending city, Zaofu. Zaofu is a city inhabited entirely by metal benders. It's very Wakanda-esque, in a sense, in that in having only metal benders in your city that is made of metal for them to bend is fantastic tech in this universe. And so the city is nearly utopic. It's self-sufficient. The citizens of Zaofu are encouraged to, like, develop other talents beyond metal bending because they've all had so much time to perfect metal bending now that it's like, hey, go do other stuff. And everyone there seems to spend their time, like, sculpting and dancing and studying and generally doing the things you would do at, like, a liberal arts college. It's like liberal arts college for metal benders. It's great. Zaofu is also very Wakanda-like in that it is incredibly closed off. The entire city is built inside these giant metal sheets that they close up at night, like a giant lotus flower around the city, and, like, nothing gets in, nothing gets out. And it's very safe. Zaofu is led and founded by Su Yin Beifong, Lin's half-sister, daughter of Toph to a different father. And the two immediately start to fight. Like they haven't seen each other for 30 years, it comes out, and it turns out that reason is that they kind of hate each other. We don't know why yet, but they hate each other. Meanwhile, Zahir goes undercover and goes to Air Temple Island and tells Tenzin that he's recently gained new airbending powers and wants to get help controlling them. And he, like, demonstrates a little bit of airbending, and everyone's like, hey, a new airbender, great. Except he then immediately proceeds to, like, dominate at all of these basic, like, beginner airbending techniques that no one else is good at. He, like, navigates the spinning panel thing really well. He picking up techniques really quick, and generally just being really suspicious. Jinora and Kaya eventually catch on, and they, call Zahir out on it, and he flees. Back in Zaofu, Korra and Bolin start learning metal bending from Su Yin. Korra picks it up pretty quickly because she's the Avatar. Bolin sucks at it. He just can't metal bend. Probably won't come up again. Lin goes to metal bending acupuncture, so she gets acupuncture done by a metal bender. It's a whole thing. Has some revelations about her and Su Yin's childhood. Goes and apologizes. They make up. It's great. And convinces Su Yin's daughter Opal, who is one of these new airbenders as well, that hey, you should go train with the other airbenders. I know it's scary and you're in this safe town and your whole family's here, but you should go learn how to airbend. I'll make sure you're taken care of there because it's right outside my home city. And that's great. Back in Republic City, Zahir and the Red Lotus figure out that Korra is in Zaofu, and they go there. They sneak in. They get help from Su Yin's right-hand man. He's this he's very good at the lie detector technique that Toph has, that earthbenders have. He's very good at it. He's kind of he interviews all new prospective entrants into Zaofu and determines if they're telling the truth about why they're there. But he's also the only one who's able to get away with lying because he knows how to manipulate the lie detector test that all earthbenders have. His name is Iwi. He's gone after this paragraph, but I don't want to call him Su Yin's right-hand man 3 more times. So Iwi helps the Red Lotus sneak into Zaofu after dark. They are unable to get their hands on Korra and escape again because everyone wakes up and drives them off. Korra follows Iwi home, or wherever he flees to, I guess, and they stake him out. He flees to an inn, and they get another room in the inn and basically just watch him to see if he leaves, hoping to follow him back to Zahir and get the jump on him. But they find out that Iwi and Zahir meet in the spirit world through meditation. So Korra meditates into the spirit world, goes to where Iwi and Zahir are meeting, and confronts Zahir, who starts monologuing and tells her that the Red Lotus's plan is to remove all rulers from their positions of power and let chaos, which is the actual order, reign throughout the world. These rulers are oppressing everybody. Everyone should be truly free. Zahir's an anarchist. He's an anarchist. However, this is all a distraction. Because Zahir is able to trace where he's able to figure out hey, they followed this guy. He's in this hotel. I bet they're in this hotel too. And he sends Gazan and Minghua to go get her while she's helpless and in the spirit world. Mako and Bolin are able to stave off this attack. They stay behind in the hotel to keep Gazan and Minghua there. And it's here that Bolin learns the reason he can't metal bend is because he's not a metal bender. He is also a magma bender. And he starts counter magma bending to Gazan. Yeah. It's a cool thing. That's kind of dope. Yeah. Asami is able to get Korra away from these two. However, the Earth Queen's Dai Li captures Asami and Korra and takes them back to Ba Sing Se. Zahir, figuring out the queen has Korra, goes to Ba Sing Se and brokers a trade with her. And he basically says I have all of your airbenders that they took from you, I will give them back to you if you give me the Avatar. I know you have her in your custody. She agrees, but the problem is that she doesn't quite have Korra yet. Korra and Asami are kept in a cell on an airship that's flying back to the Earth Kingdom. They're able to break out of that cell and they crash the Earth ship and don't come back to the Earth Kingdom. So when Zahir learns this, he pulls up, fine, I'll do it myself. And he kills the Earth Queen by sucking the air out of her lungs with airbending until she suffocates in one of the most brutal scenes I have ever seen get by a Y7 rating.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's gnarly, dude.
It's nuts. It cuts away like at the last second, but like until then, you see her like eyes bulging and go bloodshot and her face turn blue. And it's real. It's a lot to slip through a kid's show.
It's like when that kid on the Magic School Bus took his helmet off.
Took his helmet off.
Yeah.
It's
It ruined
like
my life and gave me my worst fear forever.
It's like when Arnold
we all
gave
sat
you
there
your
and
worst
said, "How
fear
is
forever."
that kid dead?"
Because it's the Magic School Bus.
Exactly.
But no, they had time to get him back to Earth. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
He just had a bad cold
He's
afterwards.
just got
He
the
has plot
sniffles.
armor.
That's actually patient 0 for COVID-19 is the kid from Magic
Is
School Bus
Arnold from Who Caught It on Pluto.
who caught it on Pluto.
I just remember. I'm so glad you brought this crucial childhood memory up, Matt. Of
course.
I remember watching that, being like single digits age old, and even being like, "Well, that's horse shit." Like you just no, you just die out there.
No, he's dead now.
Man, to this day, I'm terrified that one day I will end up in space, and one day I will be in space and take my helmet off, and I will turn into an ice cube like that kid from Magic School Bus. Anyway, Kyle, if you want to keep talking about Legend of Korra, I guess that's okay.
Yeah, I will. So Zahir kills the queen and then announces to, like, he gets on the loudspeaker system that exists and announces to the citizens of Ba Sing Se, I have killed your queen. You are all free. You are all free now. You are your own masters. Do what you want. And he lowers all of the walls separating all of the like rings and palace of the city, and immediately the outer ring riots and like storms the inner ring, starts looting, storms the palace, starts looting, taking everything they can get their hands on, because of course they can. They've been oppressed by their queen for forever and ever. It's terrible. Zahir, in this moment, in this moment of victory, frees Bolin and Mako. He's like, you guys are free to go under the condition that you deliver a message to the Avatar. Tell her I am done hunting you. Come to me, or I exterminate every remaining airbender. Mako and Bolin go save their Ba Sing Se family from the riot, and they go deliver the message to Korra, who goes into the spirit world, again, hoping to find Aang, since she can't like contact him through Avatar magic anymore. She's looking for help. She doesn't know what to do. Instead, she finds, once again, Uncle Iroh, who gives her some advice and tells her, like, I think Aang is like gone. Like, can't call him anymore. But
We don't have that voice actor on payroll anymore. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
But my nephew Zuko was his like best friend after he stopped trying to kill him, and learned a lot from Aang while they were like making a whole country together. He's still on Earth. Go talk to him. He might have some Aang-esque wisdom to pass on to you. So she does that, and we get this nice scene of her talking to Fire Lord Zuko, and she asks him what Aang would do, and he gives her this in this situation of like, do I turn myself in, or do I give up the avatars? Or the airbenders, I mean. And Zuko does a wisdom and basically tells her, like, I can't tell you what to do. I know, like, these new airbenders would be one of the most important things to Aang. Like, if Aang knew there were all these new airbenders, he would do almost anything to ensure they could thrive. However, Aang also understood he's the Avatar and like has a special role in this world, and like can't always get what he wants. Like what he wants to happen and what needs to happen aren't always the same thing. And that's the best advice I can give you. Korra goes to turn herself in to Zahir, figuring the world needs this new batch of airbenders, but an Avatar is replaceable. An Avatar will reincarnate. The next Avatar can come back and restore balance. These airbenders gotta stay. The Red Lotus does a double cross and tries to kill all of the airbenders and Team Avatar, but they're able to hold them off. Bolin's magma bending comes in hand, is the clincher here again. Korra and Tonraq face Tonraq is, I clarified that Tonraq's Korra's dad. Korra and her dad face off against Zahir.
Did we know that the whole
I don't
time?
think- I don't
Wait,
think
hold
we
the
knew that.
fucking phone, Kyle.
Tonraq, we're confusing. We have Tonraq and Torok. Torok was the
Yes.
bad guy.
Yes. Okay.
Tonraq is her father. Tonraq,
Okay.
her father was also one of the people who stopped Zahir the first time he tried to kill her.
Sure. Okay.
Sorry, I should have clarified that early. I should have cleared that up earlier.
No, that's on them. That's on them for their naming conventions.
It's
I
a
agree
little
with
bit on
Todd,
them.
Yes.
So they're all fighting. Korra and Tonraq and Zahir. Pali is up in an airship and like just shooting off like fire explosions down, providing like cover fire so no one can really like come out to help. And things look bad. Zahir knocks Tonraq off a cliff. Korra thinks killing him, but he's actually saved by Kai and Jinora on an air bison, so he's fine. And Zahir uses, like, she freaks out, and Zahir uses her rage to, like, overpower her and subdue her. Suyin and Lin, the two Beifongs, take down Pai Li. It's awesome. They metal bend a sheet of metal up to her and around her head right as she's about to fire off one of those explosions. And we cut away right before her head explodes. And
Oh, man.
yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. Remember when I said this series gets dark and brutal? So Pali is down. She's dead, down for the count. And Zahir uses her death to unlock a new power. And I'm going to need you to watch the YouTube clip I put here in the notes. It is my favorite moment of Legend of Korra. The build up to this is Zahir clearly has been studying the teachings of an ancient airbender, almost like this whole run. Like he's been quoting this airbender, and this is one of the lines he has quoted up to this point, and the technique he learns.
That's really sick. That's so cool and so dramatic with the fall off the cliff and everything. That's tight.
Right.
What does he do, guys? So for our listeners, what's he doing?
He flies.
Yeah,
He can fly.
He just flies. No air, no glider. He just like he jumps off a cliff, and we look down, and he's standing there like Goku, like hovering above the clouds.
And he does it so effortlessly.
Yeah. It's awesome. So Zahir has Korra, does that, jumps off, flies away with her. And Korra comes to, chained up in a cave. Zahir injects her with what is basically mercury. They have some Avatar universe name for the poison, but it's mercury. And starts monologuing. He tells her his plan is to wait for this poison to take effect, and as it starts killing her, it will force her body into the avatar state. And as soon as it does, he is going to kill her, ending the avatar line once and for all, blah, blah, blah. And once she's out of the way, he will go on to kill the remaining heads of state around the world, blah, blah, blah. Letting chaos reign, etc., etc. However, what happens instead is that once Korra does in fact succumb to the poison enough that she is forced into the avatar state, the combined strength of the avatar state and her sheer rage at Zahir for what she thinks is killing her dad gives her the strength to break free of the chains she's in, and before Zahir can, kill her. And we get a good showdown between Rage Monster, Korra, and Zahir. It's
nice.
Very, very cool. It's like a flipped version of the Avatar versus Ozai fight at the end of The Last Airbender, but it's flipped because Zahir is the airbender in this, and Korra is like rage firing around like Ozai was. It's very, very good. She beats Zahir, subdues, takes him down, and Team Avatar and the new airbenders are able to, restrain him. They use that earthbending thing where you like sink someone into the ground, and he's done. He's restrained, and they send him off to a bigger and more elaborate prison, where he will rot in jail. Time jumps. We cut ahead 2 weeks. We see Korra is in a wheelchair, and she barely survived this attack. She is wrecked by this attack. She looks like death. Looks like her eyes are like sunken in. She's real frail. She can't walk. She's in a she can't move her legs. She's in a wheelchair. But she did survive. And that is the end of book 3. Probably the arguably my favorite book of Legend of Korra. It's very, very good. You should watch
that
Legend
was the
of
end
Korra.
of book 3 or the end of book 4? Sorry.
The end of book 3. We still have book 4. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Book 4 kicks off with another time jump. This time we jump ahead 3 years after the events of the Zahir storyline. We catch up with everyone. Asami is doing what every rich person claims they will do and is actually improving Republic City, shown here by opening a new public train for the city to use. Mako is serving as a personal bodyguard to Prince Wu, heir to the Earth Kingdom throne. Prince Wu is a fancy boy who loves spending money and not much else about being king. He's very immature, very, very ill-suited to be king, but he's gonna be king if things don't happen. Bolin and the airbenders are helping a metalbender named Kuvara. Kuvara is a former student of Su Yin. She lived in Zaofu. Kuvara is going around the Earth Kingdom and basically bringing peace and order back to these cities after the aftermath of the Queen's assassination, which sounds great, except Kuvara is getting very fashy.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Kuvara, it's what starts out as like Kuvara, like, rolling up on towns that are overtaken by like bandits or whatever. They drive out the bandits. They give the towns like some supplies to like help start rebuild, and they move on to the next one. But what starts happening is that as this continues, Kuvara starts giving these towns ultimatums. It's like, okay, we've driven out the bandits, but we're going to not leave any protection and not give you any supplies unless you swear fealty to me. And this gets worse when we find out that Kuvara has a band of bandits on employ that go ahead of her and attack these towns ahead of time. And when the towns don't agree to give her full control of their city, she sends the bandits back and goes in and makes them call her this time, be like, hey, they're attacking again. He's like, swear, bend the knee, and then I'll come back. So she is both helping and has turned this into a fascist movement in the Earth Kingdom, which is something. And Korra, through all of this, is nowhere to be found because she is off processing her PTSD in a way we're all familiar with, by wandering the world and joining underground cage matches just to feel something.
I mean, whomst among us?
Whomst among us. Right. Yeah, we all of episode 1 is like catching up with everybody and finding out like Kuvara is not all that she seems to be. And then the very last scene is like Korra, she like cuts her long hair to signify I'm a new person now, and then goes and joins a earthbending cage match and gets rocked. Like, she's not doing well. The next episode, we learn Korra hasn't been able to walk until about 6 months prior to where we catch up with the time skip. She spends those 2.5 years doing physical therapy with Katara in the South Pole. And as soon as she is able to walk, leaves to go to Republic City. But once the boat pulls up, she gets there and she gets a PTSD and leaves. She's like, I can't do this yet. I'm going to go. And she tells herself, I'm going to go reconnect with Rava. She ends up in Foggy Swamp. Remember the swamp from The Last Airbender?
Yeah.
Where all the spirit, where Aang like gets the vision of Toph and all the spirit stuff happens. She ends up there. And she meets Toph in all of her elderly woman glory. And
wait, is Toph still alive at this point as well?
Yeah.
So everybody from the Aang gang is alive except Aang?
And Sokka.
Yeah, no Sokka.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Bummer.
There are theories that Sokka
his
died.
Meteor sword.
There are theories Sokka died in taking down Zahir the first time. That's the theory. There's nothing confirming that. We meet Toph in all her elderly woman glory. Toph greets Korra with a "Hey, Twinkle Toes," and the audience cries because it's a good moment.
Sweet.
There's old woman Toph.
Love it.
Korra stays with Toph for a while in the swamp. And we learn Toph has, she did the whole thing of like founding the police in Republic City. We learned in the like Lin Su-yin story arc that like she quit the police force after Su-yin was a problem child and ended up doing some crimes, and Toph some petty crimes. She didn't do anything major. Toph bailed her out one too many times, and that is what caused the rift between Lin and the rest of the family. And after that, Toph was like, well, what am I doing? I'm not helping people. And she quit the police force and has been kind of wandering the planet since then. Korra kind of tries to catch her up and be like, hey, you could help us with stuff going on. Toph gives her the like, no, I did my world saving. Like, look at me. I'm done. But you can stay here if you want. I'll try and like figure out what's going on. So they do. She stays there, and Toph gives Korra something that Korra's needed since this fight with Zahir that's left her like permanently scarred, and that is like some tough love. We learn that the thing that has been frustrating Korra in the past 3 years is that everyone has been like, no, we got it. You take it easy. Like you recover from this. We'll cover it. And that has removed all purpose from Korra. Like she has nothing to do if she's not being the Avatar. And Toph doesn't do any of that. She's like, you aren't getting better because you don't want to get better because you're scared. And
hell yeah, Toph.
Yeah, and she's like, you need to stop being scared and start being the Avatar again. And they have a whole thing. It's great. Toph figures out / reveals that like all of the mercury that Zahir put into you didn't get taken out by my daughters like they thought. They're fine metal benders, but like I'm the metal bender and I can see you still got some mercury in your blood. And Toph goes to remove it, and that like awakens some PTSD in Korra, so they can't do it until she heals more. And it becomes a whole thing where Korra is the one that pulls the remaining mercury out of her own body because she's better, she's healed, she wants to go. So we cut back to Mako and the prince, and it's coronation day. It's preparation for coronation. The prince is going to become king. We kind of learn that the reason everyone is pushing this through is that the president, like all the other nations, just need someone to be king, and they'll kind of tell him what to do. They're going to rule the Earth Kingdom through him, basically. They're like, he doesn't want to do it. Just make him king and we'll do it for him. However, right before the coronation starts, Kuvara rolls in with her army and is like, no, don't make this guy king. Look at our last queen. Look at the king before them. Look at blah, blah, blah. Like, look at this. We need someone who knows what's going on to rule this company, to rule this nation. I hereby declare the Earth Kingdom dead and name myself the ruler of what is now the Earth Empire. And the crowd cheers. Mako and the prince barely make it out, and Kuvara is ruling the Earth Kingdom now. Korra rolls back into town, gets caught up to speed. She shows up during the coronation, kind of gets caught up and helps the escape. And the Korra, Mako, Asami, and the prince kind of reconvene and try and come up with a plan when the prince gets kidnapped again. Or not again, but the prince gets kidnapped and is taken back to Kuvara. Kuvara at this point is rolling her army up on Zhaofu, the last city in the Earth Kingdom she hasn't claimed yet, because Suyin is not gonna bend the knee to this tyrant at this point. And Korra shows up, kind of does a like, hey, I'm the Avatar, get out of here or I'm gonna do some Avatar stuff, and initiates a fight. And Kuvara like whips her ass, just has no trouble beating her, because 6 months ago Korra couldn't walk, and now she's trying to bend. Like, it's bad. Kuvara tells Korra, like, I'm not gonna do anything. Like, I know what you were doing. Sure. I will spare you if you go in to Zhaofu and tell Suyin my message, which is surrender, swear fealty to me, or I will destroy this city you built yourself tomorrow. Tomorrow at dawn, I will destroy your city if you do not try and if you do not swear fealty to me. We learn that Varric is working for Kuvara. He is using... this is going to come out of left field, but there was build up to it that didn't fit anywhere in the story before then. He is using spirit material to make this universe's version of atomic power, basically.
So like it's the spirit goo from FNAF. It's like the Five Nights at Freddy's spirit goo.
Sure. I don't remember enough of that flavor text to...
Don't do that. It's the spirit goo from Taboo from
The taboo goo.
The taboo
The
goo.
taboo goo.
A different kind of goo.
What? So it is very much he's doing a Manhattan Project, but with spirit energy. There's a whole scene where like he's trying to tap into it's a vine from the spirit world, and it's like let's see how much energy we can get out of this. And they're measuring it, and then it like spikes off their charts and blows up the room they're in. And he has this turn of heart. He's like, I've never doubted anything I've done before in my life, but this seems bad. This seems bad. I feel like I shouldn't give this technology to this woman. And he tells Kuvara that and has him thrown in prison. Bolin at this point has been Kuvara's kind of right-hand man. He has a similar change of heart. It was like, hey, everything you're doing seems really fashy. You should probably stop it. And she has him thrown in prison as well. Okay, so it is the night before Kuvara's ultimatum comes into play. And Su Yin sneaks out of Zhaofu to go try and assassinate Kuvara in the night. She's like, I'm pretty sure this whole army is like only behind her because of like the underhanded like blackmailing she's been doing to them. And I'm pretty sure that if I take her out, they'll all just kind of like disperse and or follow the next person that steps in. So they go out, try to assassinate Kuvara. Kuvara absolutely expects this, springs a trap on them, captures everybody. Korra and Kuvara fight again. And Kuvara starts gaining the upper hand, and Korra goes into the Avatar state and is able to start fighting back, but then gets another PTSD and like can't. Some of the airbenders intervene. They save Katara, get her out of there, but they have to leave Zhaofu to and basically turn it over to Kuvara. Varric and Bolin are now like prisoners, and Varric is forced to keep working on this Manhattan Project thing. But Varric is he's doing a mad scientist thing. He's like building it so that they won't be able to use it, but he's going to be able to use it. She wants him to make it an energy source to power an army of mechs she has built from Hiroshi, who she broke out. And he's like, I'm not going to make it a power source. I'm going to make it a bomb and try and kill her with it. Korra goes back to Republic City, catches up with Tenzin, brings him up to speed on like, hey, Kuvara is doing a dictatorship. I think we just handed over Zhaofu to her. We gotta go do something. And they go back, yada yada. Some story happens. The Team Avatar is able to get the upper hand on Kuvara. Kuvara has to kind of take what little army she can get away with and regroup. She loses some territory, but she still has like more army and more tech than the others. Someone is able to finish Varric's research and make he doesn't get to do the bomb plan. They are able to finish his research and make the energy source. And Kuvara uses it not to power an army of mechs, but instead a giant, bigger than the other mechs mech, and uses that to stand down the armies. It's called the Colossus. It's big. It's a big mech. But Varric shows back up. He's like, "Hey, I still got some of this spirit energy. I made a bomb out of it. I think we can blow up this mech. Like, I think we can do it."
Is it? Would you call it a spirit bomb, Kyle?
I guess I have to now.
Yeah,
I think I have to now. So they go in, they like bust it, they do a Tower of Colossus basically, and break into the giant mech, go plant the bomb, and blow it up. And let me see. Yeah, that's right. So they blow up the mech with the spirit bomb, TM, Todd. And the explosion sends the cockpit of the mech into the spirit world because it's a spirit energy bomb. In the spirit world, Korra and Kuvara fight some more. Kuvara escapes. Korra chases after her. And Kuvara manages to get like the arm cannon of this mech and has it like leveled at Korra, and is basically like, I will pull this trigger and it will probably kill us both, but like we are going down. Kuvara fires the cannon, but it's like big and a big atomic cannon, so she like loses control of it, like whips around, like water whips around, and she loses control of it. And it's like firing and flailing and is about to blast Kuvara, but Korra does the hero thing and dives in front of the blast, saving Kuvara's life. It warps them elsewhere in the spirit world. It's another teleport thing. They have a heart-to-heart at this point. Kuvara's like, "Hey, I guess you saved my life. I guess I was being kind of a dictator." Okay. They exit the spirit world. Kuvara turns herself in, tells her army to stand down. Everyone hugs. Everyone wins. Yeah, everyone celebrates. We move ahead a plot some amount of time later, and we see celebrations. We see Prince Wu announcing to a crowd, he's like, "Hey, I'm not going to be a monarch anymore. There's no monarchy in the Earth Kingdom. We're going to be a democracy like Republic City." Let's see. And as celebrations wind down, Korra and Asami have a heart-to-heart and get to talk about, like, Korra apologizes for being away for so long. Asami's like, "Hey, I'm just glad you're alive. Like, I'm glad my friend's back." And they decide, like, let's go away. Let's leave all this. And they take a break, take a vacation into the spirit world. And they hold hands and walk into the spirit world. Roll credits. End of Legend of Korra.
Dope.
What can you explain what the spirit world is and is not?
It's not heaven.
Okay.
It's
Is it where all the Force ghosts live? Is that what it is?
no, because that's also
That's got something to do with midichlorians, I think.
yeah, it's got something to do with midichlorians.
Yeah.
It's a metaphysical world that like is in alignment and is the cause of all the
Fair.
weird magic-y things in this world. That's the best I can do. It's real spirit. It's real spiritual and intentionally misleading. The reason I had to get all the way to the end is that the creators of after the show aired, some time passed. Creators got to, and the NDAs ran out, or they were at a con and got to talk about it or something. And the creators of the show got to confirm that their intention the whole time, or at least from season 3 on, was that their plan was Korra and Asami were supposed to end up together in a relationship.
Yeah.
And Nickelodeon said, no,
Hell no.
not in our kids show here in 2014.
Right.
And that was the best they could do at the time, like, to get through Nickelodeon to be like, so they confirmed a whole bunch of like internet theories. There were a lot of fans that were excited by this announcement. There were a lot of fans that were upset by this announcement because, of course, there were a lot of people claimed, like, well, if that was your intent, why are you pulling a J.K. Rowling and just like telling us about it after the fact? And they were like, well, we're not. Like, if you watch the show again, you can see we tried. And I can tell you, as someone who will, like, I watched this when it aired, and I watched it for this, it's definitely in there. If you're watching it with that knowledge and or not a male perspective in 2014, it's clear as day they really wanted these two to end up together. I just wanted to take that moment to talk about like how much this show was able to get away with violently through a Y7 rating.
Yeah.
And the one thing they couldn't get through their Y7 rating was a same-sex relationship. Go Nickelodeon.
I'm not surprised, but also, like, stop being babies. Let
You're
them,
right.
let them give a little smooch.
Just a little smooch.
Yeah.
Let the
that's
kids
Legend
be
of Korra.
gay.
Hey, I liked this, and here's my hang up. Much like most of the things that we share in flavor text that I say I really, really like, if they could condense all of this into like a 2-hour special, I would watch it. I'd watch it every year.
My strongest counter argument to that, Todd, is each season is only 13 episodes. They're 20-minute episodes. You can blow through a season in about 3 hours.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm more likely to watch this than Evangelion.
Then The Mandalorian.
Or Mandalorian.
You're watching Andrew's The Mandalorian.
Oh, it's Andrew's the Mandalorian.
Andrew's the pervert.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I also really enjoyed this. I will probably watch it eventually. I mean, I finished Last Airbender this year, or last year, I guess, 2022. And Korra has been on my list for a while. I knew up front that it was more anime-ish. You explaining it to me confirmed that it was more anime-ish, which means I will probably
way
like
more
it
anime
less. But Andrew walking me through Evangelion got me to watch that show.
Got you there.
Yeah,
The last thing I will say before I close out is that there is a lot of really good like character stuff and interpersonal relationship stuff and like things that are hard to bring up in this already excruciatingly long flavor text that are present in the show that you will not get through my plot point by plot point retelling. And if you are at all curious, once again, could probably watch the whole series in a weekend. Each season would only take you about 3 hours to watch. I can't recommend it more. With that, thank you all for listening to Debate This. You can follow along with the arguments on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DebateThisCast, or on our website at debatethiscast.com. Hey, you! Yeah, you! If you're listening to this episode on the day it releases, or within the subsequent 48 hours, and you live in or near Milwaukee, Wisconsin, then do we have good news for you. We, and by we I mean everyone except me specifically, will be performing our first live show ever at the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee this weekend. Unfortunately, I cannot make the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee, but Todd, Matt, and Andrew will all be there. They will be doing a live show. I am told there will be audience participation. I am told there will be PowerPoints. You should, if you can make it to Milwaukee, go there. 7 p.m. That's this Saturday. That's weird to say here like 3 weeks away, but 7 p.m. this Saturday on the side stage. Come and see us. If you can't come to Milwaukee on 2 days' notice, but still really want to support your favorite nerds, head on over to our Patreon for Discord access, bonus content, and the ability to commission your own flavor text just like this one. Give us your money at patreon.com/debatethiscast. Until next time, I'm Kyle Harper.
I'm Todd. Zahir, Zafar, wherever you Zahar, Thomas.
And I'm Matt. Pronounce a werewolf's teeth incorrectly on the coast. Call that a bayfong, Cole.
And we're saying thanks for debating with us. And if you think we're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.
Matt, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.